Now arriving at Hurstbridge.
Hurstbridge Station is the final station on the Hurstbridge line. It's once again just one single platform, although it does have a few sidings just beyond it holding a few extra extrapolis trains. Due to the multiple single-track sections on this line, though, and the fact that it gets low patronage, the Hurstbridge station doesn't have the best frequencies. It only gets 40-minute frequencies, although during certain peak times it can get up to 20, but it can never get more than that, because it really can't do more than that. But you don't really need more than that. So with that frequency and the small station, it honestly feels a bit more like what you'd get at some of the V-Line stations. Outside the station building itself is nothing special. Like, it's just a small little building. It does have a customer service desk. It does have bathrooms, but otherwise, it's just a normal station. It's some nice little flower beds to decorate the station, but otherwise, that's about it. Yeah, the station itself, not much special. One single platform, as you would expect with a train like that. Usually the train will be sitting there for about 10 minutes when it arrives in before heading back in the other direction, since it pretty much has to run to a very specific schedule since due to its a lot of single track sections. Just outside the station there is a bus route, but it just goes to Greensboro, and it also has very poor frequencies, so it's also not the best use if you're trying to avoid the Hurstbridge train or if there's replacement buses. It's a shame. I don't know why they don't make that bus run a little bit more often or have more buses to the suburb beyond. But to be honest, there isn't that much suburbs beyond Hurstbridge itself. There's a few tiny areas, but that's about it. Because honestly, when you step outside the suburb of Hurstbridge, it feels almost like a small country town. It feels rural. Once again, this feels like what you'd get at some of the V-Line stations, where you step out and you've got one or two main streets and various shops with little shops and little cafes and whatnot, but that's about it. That being said, those cafes and little shops do get quite a few people. The station might not get much patronage, but the main street always seems to be quite busy with people if it's a nice day, so I guess being the main street, that's what you get when you live in the area. Otherwise, you're driving all the way to probably Eltham for your main shopping. But like I said, it feels like a small country town. It feels like what would be a V-Line station with its poor frequencies, and it's got lots of small shops and it's got nature trails. But otherwise, it's not a big area. But it's a very relaxed area, and once a year they have the Wattle Festival, but that's about it. Like I said, the station itself isn't much special, but if you like going to small areas that feel like country towns, but you don't want to ride a V-Line, Hurstbridge is a good one to go to if you enjoy that small feeling. Just be aware that the train journey is quite long, as A, the frequencies aren't the best, B, sometimes the train stalls at Eltham for a few minutes, or sometimes Diamond Creek due to the single track sections, but otherwise, yeah, a lot of the Hurstbridge line is like that. The Hurstbridge line a lot of it feels old, and that's what this one is. It feels old, and it feels so often disconnected from the rest of the world because it's a single track area. But like I said, the station, not special, but the area, pleasant to walk around, and there's some nature trails, and everything's nice and friendly, but otherwise, it's not that special. Hey, not all the stations can be winners, right? But yeah, Hurstbridge is alright.